Our Region's Business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you. Our Region's Business. Innovation, transformation, momentum. Improving our communities and driving technologies that will shape our region for generations. The collaboration that brings vitality, prosperity, and life to living. Stay with us for the coming half hour as we examine in depth our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today, a special anniversary edition of Our Region's Business. We'll find out why our region's been recognized with a national award for regional stewardship. Plus, it's been 20 years since the opening of the new midfield terminal at Pittsburgh International Airport. We'll ask the Allegheny County executive and the airport director what's ahead. But first, the Lantern Building is shedding light on our region's Renaissance story. The PNC Financial Services Group has cut the ribbon on a new showcase and focuses on community and partnership in Pittsburgh over the past 2 generations. It's all part of PNC's ongoing legacy project, initiated during its rapid expansion into the 5th largest banking company in America. Brian Goerke is Vice President for Strategic Sponsorships for PNC, which is a sponsor of Our Region's Business. And David O'Neill is a consultant on the PNC Legacy Project from Story Trust Publishing in Newton, Massachusetts. And welcome. Good to see both of you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, you've taken a challenging building right in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh on a key intersection and really made it into a gem. Congratulations.
Right. Well, thank you. We've grown a good bit over the past number of years, as you've known. In Cleveland, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, what we've done is honor the institutions in the past, their past and their legacies. And now we're taking a little different approach in our hometown by honoring and celebrating the transformation of Pittsburgh, particularly since World War II, with a interactive exhibit right on Liberty Avenue there, in a small space where people can come in free of charge and find out a little bit about what Pittsburgh was and how it was transformed, and we think some interesting ways.
I think we've got a little bit of video which we're showing right now. For people who've been to Heinz Hall, for example, to see the symphony, this was the building at the end of 6th Street there that had the big lottery sign on it for many years, right?
We thought it was a little bit of an eyesore and didn't know what we were going to do with the building initially. It is about 800 square feet, so it's not large, but this came together nicely. It's
really remarkable. We'll see it in a minute. We'll see what it looks like at night. But David, I wanted to ask you first. I mean, you had a great opportunity on this project to talk to a lot of people who really had made the Pittsburgh transformation happen over the last 30 to 50 years. Had to have been a great assignment.
It really was. I had the opportunity to speak with leaders in business and the arts and entertainment and sports who helped create the Pittsburgh that we know today. And my job as the oral historian on the project was to ask the right questions, to draw out from them their own personal experiences, their own personal stories about how they saw and actually participated in the transformation of Pittsburgh.
Real emphasis in the exhibit and in the way you're talking about on community and partnership. I mean, what struck you as a guy from Massachusetts after you went through all those interviews about what's happened here in Pittsburgh?
Well, Pittsburgh has a very distinct character, and that came across very clearly in the interviews that I did. And people are very proud of being from Pittsburgh and from the region. And that came across very clearly. One interview in particular with Tom Usher, who was the former CEO of U.S. Steel, the first thing he said was, I'm an ambassador for Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. And he loves showing people around Pittsburgh. And he tells this very personal story about how wherever he goes, he runs into people he knows because he's been here for so long. And he even says that many of his children moved away, to go to college or start a career, but they all have moved back into the region because it's really such a wonderful place to raise a family.
Well, they always talk about the 2 degrees of separation, and I suspect almost everybody you talked with knows each other intimately and probably worked together in many ways to make it all happen.
Well, that's a big part of Pittsburgh's success, is that there's a tremendous amount of collaboration between government, between business, between nonprofits, and those stories came across very clearly, that people know each other, they like to work with each other, and there's just to look at the city and see how it's changed over these years is a testament to that.
And one of the other aspects, besides the oral histories that you'll see, is a nice interactive, what we call reader rail, which is a timeline going back to 1850 to today, where you can press the screen, and a lot of articles, photos, archives, interesting points about the region, and then that ends up with a interactive screen where you as the participant can give your viewpoint on the future of Pittsburgh. And there are 6 aspects of the future that you're asked to rank. And we got this from the Allegheny Conference, and it's the same kind of questions that they ask some of their constituents. So and lastly, you can put in a headline that you think will run in the Pittsburgh paper in 2015, and send that to a friend, email that to a friend right there. So there's some interactivity to this. I think people will find something to their liking and interest, and it's all free.
Very cool. I think we got to talk about the lighting too, because I have the video at night, and this is going to be really spectacular, especially for folks going to the theater downtown.
Right. We call this the Lantern Building from 2 perspectives, really. It really illuminates a entrance to our campus, but it also illuminates the history of this great transformation that has happened. You know, there are not many other regions of our size that have been as successful in transforming their economy as Pittsburgh has. And the public-private partnerships that we alluded to, you know, are a big part of that. But I think people will see and get a nice perspective of the whole thing, and there's something for everybody.
Well, it's exciting, great to see it, and I guess everybody can see it for free, 11 to 3 daily, pretty much?
11 to 3 daily, except Sunday. And we also encourage nonprofits who might want to have a smaller meeting, maybe 25 or less people. We'll be offering this space out to them where they can have their meeting and then interact with the exhibit afterwards.
Very cool. Well, a great new addition to downtown Pittsburgh and our cultural district. Brian Goerke from PNC and David O'Neill from Story Trust Publishing in Massachusetts. Thank you both so much. Appreciate it.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Next up, an anniversary that captures ups and downs for our region. The 20th anniversary of the Midfield Terminal at Pittsburgh International Airport. Stay with us.